When I think of comic book ground, I think of fog, panels, and today's topic, rubble. And Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane are definitely the rubble kings. Mike Mignola loves it too, although a lot of his rubble is made up of old statues. And of course Arthur Adams never skips adding the detail. I think Jim and Todd were definitely inspired by Akira, so Katsuhiro Otomo, and to be fair, probably also his assistants, really put the time into the backgrounds, adding those iconic cracking rocks, the metal rods sticking through. Okay, drawing time starts with first categorizing. So we have the rocks, broken concrete, broken bricks, and my favorite, ground exploding up because of an impact. What adds an extra degree of coolness is having accurate shadows. The master of shadows is Mignola, of course. Here very clear. The figure is where the light is radiating from and the other sides get the shadow. Here as well, lighting coming from the top, so the bottom of each part is in shadow. Also on the body, of course. Here Jim Lee, pretty consistent with the shadows all on the right. Okay, let's draw classic Jim Lee rocks. The one on the left here is how he drew it in his early work. Pretty straightforward, jagged lines with broken up drop shadows on each side. But then in later years, he adds these unique circles with hatching. The difference is easy to see when it's inked. Here on the right, as if this rock is made up of small circular stones that each get their own horizontal hatching. Add some parallel lines on the bottom and it's an instant winner. Okay, next, in battle scenes, buildings get destroyed and then you're fighting amongst the rubble. So big blocks lying around. And here Jim also adds a personal touch. Those moss patches, I think that's what they are. Nicely lit in green here. So yeah, remember to pick those out when you are coloring. Then the most time-consuming one, the tech rubble. Lots of different shapes like the typical tubes. Those work great to get a 3D effect because you can play with the curves of the separations. Maybe a set of pipes next to each other, but mostly it's boxes of various shapes and sizes with hard or rounded edges. So the secret here is just to put in the time. The more lines, the better it looks. But don't forget to also drop shadows so you feel the separation of all the parts. Okay, on to the weekly challenge. I took the lines from this John Byrne Superman cover and I'm changing them to Batman and Azrael. Okay, Batman is not looking real enough. Back to a stick figure then. To really make this defeated pose cool, the weight of his head has to be clear. So putting one shoulder higher than the other will give that effect. Also that straight arm carrying all the weight. Azrael looks good like that. I love the design that Joe Quesada came up with. I get that it's a typical Wolverine blades on hands concept, but the hood, the armor, and especially those French leaf designs make it really unique to me. Okay, leg looks bad, so redraw. Some Quesada Mignola hard muscle shapes, and stick with those sharp peaks to the muscles for Batman as well. Mix a bit of all the three rubble styles. And here we go! Okay, now what can I learn from John Byrne? He separated more of the rock shapes, especially the front here looks better than mine because of it. My Batman looks more tired and angry, but Byrne's Superman looks in pain because of the kryptonite, I guess. Even that green light here from the colorist helps to make it instantly clear. Very good cover. So let's go to the participants of this week. Look at all these. Thank you guys. In the feedback I will focus mainly on the rubble since that's this week's topic. And I want to put these two together because they teach a good lesson. Josiah's Punisher grabbing a rock from the rubble. The 3D effect works great here in the edges, but I missed the rest of the rubble. It's kind of like in a cartoon where somebody walks up to something that will later move and it's drawn in a different color. It's a bit too obvious. Ghost Rider's entry, this Moon Knight and Taskmaster, is the opposite. It has abstraction in the background and in the figures. So it doesn't feel like there is not enough detail or rubble, even though there is less than in Josiah's because of the chosen style. Ferdia went all in on this, very cool, and he felt that Akira rubble connection as well. There's a clear separation of undestroyed floor and rubble in the back. Really good emotion on Tetsuo and Kanada's body. So much detail on the clothes. So in comparison, the flying rocks are a little small to me. And since it's rubble day, maybe I wanted a bit more rubble here as well. Paul here has plenty of rubble. Good idea to separate the front batch and the back one with the difference in shading. Full black on the front and lines in the back. It works to keep the focus on Cyclops' body as the main point. Pipes and metal frames, check. Very cool. Here's a batch that went for the pose, but not really the rubble. Kashek here with the classic Russian horror story, where a young monk was given the task of praying for the soul of a dead witch for 3 nights. Great lights to create a creepy mood here. Lewis with a Batman Bane sketch. Some grassy rubble. Don't be so hard on yourself. I definitely feel the right emotion coming from Batman. Moosey Stool with another funny one. Mysterious gas being emitted from the center of the frame, with a naughty smile on this Spider-Man's face. Enough said. Andrew dropping some major skills here. Pro level foreshortening in this Spidey thwip. And one piece of rubble, well shadowed. Trivikra with a nice sketch as well. One big boulder, getting close to being rubble, but maybe some more across the whole bottom here. Some people might note the difference in direction of the wind on the hair, but I think it works because even the lines of the body create this kind of dynamic circle flow. Gerald here sent me a piece he made earlier that does have it. Yes, on the classic early Jim Lee rocks and shadows. Very good. Now for some snow, which counts, I think. Sean's here really feels cold. Sharp wind, breath clouds, the icy blue shadows, icicle, yes. But be careful here though, the type of line for the snow outline and the breath cloud is the same. So it doesn't instantly read as breath, also because the gray of the breath and the rock here is too similar. The rocks are fine, but then maybe have the breath be a bit rounder, so it's easier for our eye to separate. Darko also went icy, very powerful stuff. Like the impact rocks, a very clear perspective in the ice. Very well inked with just the right amount of lines, like in this little patch of detail here. Also great face. Then Dr. Namdev with very detailed inking. The rubble here is broken wood and it works well. You feel the guy was thrown into some wood and now he's lying in the pile. Makes me think of Karate Kid 2. Yeesh! These 3 in just as I'm recording this. Pablo knows his classic rubble scenes, Kirk versus Gorn. Super fun idea, but again, I wish there were more stones. And we all know where this puppy will end up. Here's Ultra's entry for this week. Great depth in these sharp ones, like the Jim Lee impact type. Careful with the size of things. I haven't seen the movie, but this light here makes Hulk almost Godzilla size. Also, Captain America could be a bit bigger since he's in the front. Or for the backlight, just hide this part and that will put it behind the boulder. Ian with his usual very cool colors. This being more earth, I think. Be careful with the perspective on the upper body of this dude. Is he climbing on top of a pile or lying on it? A good point to keep it darker in the front and lighter in the back. That always helps with the perspective of the ground. Lukas here with a nice Daredevil kingpin. Good variation in the rubble. Let me just fix that pencil here. Yeah, he's kind of dug in as well. Good rubble. Then last but not least, Christopher's drawing. Very nice 3D rubble here. I like the two-tone highlights and the front and back layer here like we saw in Paul's Cyclops. But this time using thinner outlines and lighter colors to get that effect. Then very minimal on the third back layer works very well too. Figures looking very solid. Okay, that was it for this week. Check the details about this challenge and the participants in the description below. Drop a like if you enjoyed watching and catch you next time.